if we look at it from a staff standpoint, Aubrey's time is probably spent 50% of her time on social media and strategy. Another probably 25% is spent on our electronic e-newsletter and any other email communications, and then another quarter on our Speakers Bureau program. What would you say?
Probably not quite 50, but yeah around there.
So she managed it throughout the day with a lot of the tools that we've given you, but we could dedicate half a person to social media alone. And then I set aside personal time to do it.
That's what I was getting at with the strategic planning and making sure that what you're doing isn't just random, but it's very, intelligent by design. Then, what are you really looking at? And probably a half a person could easily be spoken for.
Yep.
And you definitely want to make sure you spend plenty of time. I mean, it is easy to just jump into it, but it's really a good idea to actually do some research, really think about what you're going to do, who you're going to reach, and take a lot of time in the beginning to plan it out and think about who's going to manage it, as well as get buy-in from your staff and management.
Right. When we had an intern managing social media, everything took a lot longer because there had to be approvals on the content. But Aubrey, having a full-time position here over time, was able to just do it all on her own without having to go through any formal process. So I would consider that, depending on who you would assign that role to and how comfortable that person would be constantly communicating online with representing the organization without having to go through a approval process.
Do you do any traditional marketing to tie into your social media efforts? Like say like a direct mail piece to ask people to be friends with you on Facebook. And have you found that to be effective?
We haven't done that. Our direct mail pieces will include our website and URL, but we haven't heavily promoted the connection. We've really cut out most of our traditional marketing. Most of the mail our donors will get is solicitations and the annual report. So we've really gone almost all electronic.
Our organizational brochure does have that information on it, though.
Yeah, I mean, we will add, like, follow us on Twitter or something to some things, but we haven't, like, specifically sent something that says just social media information.
Mine goes along with his. Is there a job description or, for your social media? Were you going for a full-time
Well, the full-time position that will manage social media is our public relations coordinator. Okay. So that's fit into that role. We actually don't have one right now, okay. But that's the full-time position. So that position would include all social media plus media relations and event planning. And I'm happy to provide an example of a job description.
I think a lot of young professionals would be willing to do some of this work pro bono, to be completely honest. People who are looking for work and who have those skill sets, they will set up that content, because really once you get that strategy in place and you have a plan, then it's way more manageable. And so sometimes it's just that initial startup that takes a lot of time.
When we first started, we had unpaid interns that we would have to do a lot of the day-to-day work. Of course, like I mentioned, it had to be approved, so it was a little time-consuming. So once you get to the point where you have a following, it's a good idea to get somebody who's there who can just post without needing approval.
I just have a general question, and this goes to anybody here, but has anybody come across the fact, I know that in the business world, security, all those things, starting up with social media, some people aren't, as fast to want to do it, maybe upper management or whatever. How did you overcome that if, I guess I know there's some companies that don't allow their employees to get on Facebook and things like that. So did you encounter any of that here, or did anybody else? And how did you kind of overcome that with them, getting them the information of how it will work? And
we were fortunate enough that it really, at least the initial, some of the initial push to go into social media came from the top. So it wasn't too hard to convince them, but they were definitely worried about dealing with online criticism. So I did a lot of research about how to deal with online criticism, what were the best practices, so that I could put their worries at ease, so they could, and I, put together examples of how it was going to work, so they could get comfortable with it.
I'm with the Kelley School of Business in Indianapolis, and our dean just recently started tweeting. So what we did initially was we shared with him tweets from other business school deans so he could see the kind of content they were pushing out. And actually, as maybe backfired on us a little bit in that now he wants us to do more video, more this, that. He bought us some new equipment, but it's like, you know, okay, he needs more content. So I think my advice would be find some peer groups that you can share with your upper management, and then let them see content, and that'll make them feel more comfortable. Philip Cochran, if anybody wants to follow him.
I think content is a great point, because I think the time isn't really in the retweeting or the monitoring, it's in the creating original content. And you mentioned that your blog is now the source for your original content that you're pushing out. Do you have multiple staff members who are blogging, and do you invite them to help you out with that part of it?
We set up an editorial calendar for about a 3-month period. Some staff members we just assign you're every third Thursday, so they know that that's their day. We really rely on our programming staff because they're actually the ones who are interacting the most with the girls. So we've really pulled them in to talk specifically about the impact of our programs. And then Aubrey and I throw some other, fundraising information in there. But we really try to focus that blog on what's going on in our programs, and we use that staff to do that.
But if things like we went to the Indie Read Spelling Bee, things like that come up, then it's easy. Again, it's that mindset that, oh, I should tweet this. Or something.
Yeah, you don't have to write a blog about that.
Exactly. But that basic content is from our blog.
Yep.
How do you handle, this is another security issue, with photos and things online? For my organization, one of the biggest fears they have is just if you post photos online, then the people that can easily copy and paste and maybe make a fake page based upon the photos that you find. So do you have any solutions for those types of things, especially with using pictures of young girls from events, either from a website or from social media?
We have all of our girl participants sign media releases if we're going to take photos or video of them. So most of the photos you see us use are from our summer camp. Those families understand that we're using those on a regular basis, but we won't use a photo that we don't have a release for.
Okay, and then online, if somebody, the fear of somebody just kind of copying and pasting from that website and putting it somewhere random.
We use Google Analytics to track our name and how it's used online, and so I believe we would find out pretty quickly if that came up with 3 of us using that tool and other tools.
I actually built a buzz monitor that was one of the things that one of our management team specifically was worried about. I actually built a buzz monitor when we first went into it, which if you've ever seen Yahoo Pipes, you can actually create your own sort of news feed based on searches of the internet. So like you can do a Google search for words that people might say about your organization, Girls Inc. or something, your mission statement like strong, smart, and bold, and then combine them all into one feed so that you can monitor that every day and see what's coming up on the internet about you.
And once you create an account, no one can take that name. So that's one way to avoid other people creating your account, is just to create an account, and then once you decide you have a plan and strategy, then fully engaging.
We're just a little bit before 1 o'clock. Anybody has any other pressing questions? Yep.
Is anybody familiar with Giveo? Nobody? Okay. And I think it's pronounced Giveo. It's Giveo. And it started a few months ago, and it's an integration between social media and donation software. So I don't know a lot about it. I just heard about it, but they have a Facebook page, I think, and all that stuff. So it's something that if that's, you mentioned about integrating fundraising and social media, that's what they're doing.
Yep.
And that's one of the joys of social media, spreading new ideas and knowledge between each other. Not just with
there's always something new to learn about.
I think at the beginning you might have mentioned some resources for your demographic research. Could you repeat those again?
I believe they used Alexa and QuantCast. And they're not all perfectly accurate. I think a lot of them based on surveys that they do on different websites and just general analytics like you can get from Google Analytics. They rank pretty much any page you can find on the internet, based on who visits it, what the demographics are of people that visit it based on income, gender, all of that.
And we'll be around if anyone has any other questions. We're happy to answer them. And thank you so much for coming today.